Hi, welcome to my June 2023 update on the latest credit card news and offers. And let's start off with something that could be quite exciting, though. I should stress that nothing has been confirmed at all about this. But this is a kind of rumour that Apple might be looking to launch its Apple Card here in the UK at some point. Now, the reason this has come about is because a few publications, the one I spotted, it was called 9 to 5 Mac, one of these kind of big Apple websites, was that Apple has acquired a startup in the UK that specializes in open banking credit applications. So how to give people access to cards without necessarily going down the credit report route, but instead looking at their other data. Now, if Apple's buying a UK specialist startup that will assess people's credit worthiness, then that would suggest maybe an Apple Card is on its way. And the reason why some people might get excited about this is because this card in the States offers 2% cash back on all your spending, or 3% if you buy an Apple product, or maybe a few other retailers like Uber and Nike. So that sounds pretty great, right? So if we could have that here in the UK, that would be head and shoulders above the best cards right now. 1% with Chase, around 1% at most, maybe a little bit more with the likes of American Express, depending on how much you spend. But don't get too carried away just yet. First of all, we don't know if the card will ever launch here in the UK. This is just speculation. And two, cashback and reward rates in America are always higher than the ones we get here in the UK. Look at Chase, look at American Express. If you saw what they offer in the States, it's better than what we get here. And a big part of that is down to how the credit card companies and the debit card companies kind of make some money every time we use them. Basically, the merchants, when we use our debit card, we use our credit card, there is a interchange fee that is charged, that the merchant pays. We don't pay, although you could argue those costs are put onto our actual spending costs anyway. They are capped here. So for a debit card, it's 0.2%. For a credit card, it's 0.3% of the purchase. That is way, 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 way lower than what they can be in America. So if it does launch over here, I would be doubtful that it is anything like what they get in the States. Maybe it matches Chase. Maybe it be another 1% card, or maybe a little bit more than that. Who knows? Certainly interesting to see. And if we do get anything concrete at any time this year, next year, who knows when, I'll obviously let you know on the channel. Now, a couple of promotions to tell you about. One of them is one that's ending. I did cover this in detail 2 months ago, so make sure you check out my April video, my April credit card update, if you want to find all the bits of information about it, plus a very detailed article over on becleveryourcash.com. But this one ends on the 13th of June. So you've only got a handful of days to try and get this one if you're eligible. This is the American Express double welcome offer plus travel credit if you get the card and spend $6,000 in 6 months. So rather than getting 30,000 Amex reward points, you'd get 60,000 plus £200 to spend at Amex Travel. That's really, really good. And if you combine it with some other promotions, they're ongoing with the Amex Platinum card. So you've got that £50 Harvey Nicks credit you get twice a year. Reminder here to make sure if you haven't spent it for the first 6 months of this year, you've got to do it by the end of June. Another 50 quid for the next 6 months, plus £150 every year to spend at certain restaurants, plus some other bits and pieces. If you convert those Avios points that you've earned and all the other things together, and if you cancel the card, once you've got the bonus, although I would suggest you go into the new year, into 2024 for a month or a few weeks, whatever it is, to get some more credit, convert those points into Nectar, as I say, that could be worth £815 in profit potentially, which is pretty decent. So it's definitely worth having a look at this offer in the next few days if there's time and if you're eligible. And some existing Amex card holders will be eligible. As I say, I'm not going to go over it all again. I covered it a few weeks ago and over on the blog. But there is one thing I do want to add onto this when we're talking about specifically about this Amex Platinum cards, because I've seen a few people reporting this in my Facebook group. Please do join us there if you want to. Almost 5,000 members now. It's becleveryourcash.com/community. That's the URL that will take you through to the group. Anyway, a few people have shared recently that they've applied for this card and they've been rejected. And the reason they've been rejected is because of their salary. It says that they don't earn enough money. Now, Amex actually got rid of minimum salary levels, minimum income levels, I should say, rather than salary, back in, I think it was 2016. So it's been a long time since this has been an issue. They look at every application based on all the other bits and pieces. But I've seen the copies of the text messages. They've said they've been rejected based on their salary. Now, there's nothing on the Amex website to say the minimum salary we need for this Amex Platinum card is X or Y. But digging a little bit deeper, looking at some forums on the Head for Points website, which is always really good when you're talking about things like Avios and travel points. It does seem a number, even more people are saying that it looks like there could well be a £50,000 minimum salary needed for this Amex Platinum card. And not only that, that annual salary, I said it again, annual income, because obviously you can get income, not just from your salary, you can get it from dividends or side hustles or whatever it might be, basically at your income for the year. That is your personal income. Even though they're asked for your household income, and that could be a lot more, your partner could be earning, I don't know, £200,000, whatever it is. It seems that doesn't matter. It's about your personal income. Now, again, this is all speculation. I will investigate more. I will put a question into the Amex press office and see if they can confirm anything. If they do, I'll obviously let you know in the next month's update. But it's worth bearing in mind if you are thinking about that card, obviously in the next few days at the time of releasing this video, to try and get it. And of course, it could well be this applies to other Amex cards as well. Again, I'll update you if I get that information. Another offer to share with you is a card called Yonder. Again, I spoke about this again in the April update when they had a special deal, which was 1 month free and £50 to spend. Well, the new welcome offer for this card is 6 months free and a free pint. Now, since this card has a £15 membership fee every single month, that's quite a big saving. Not bad. You also get travel insurance that comes with that. So for a 6-month period, free travel insurance, a free pint, plus the potential opportunity there to earn points, which you can then use to spend in restaurants, mainly in London. But again, it might be worth a look for that. But just bear in mind, once that 6 months is up, you will be paying that £15 every single month. Incidentally, again, when I spoke about it in April, again, the big thing about Yonder, their big selling point isn't the travel insurance. Oh, that's a nice little feature. You might be able to get it cheaper, for less, elsewhere. But it's the fact that they do not necessarily use your credit report to assess whether you're going to get this card or not. They'll use open banking data. So similar to that company I mentioned at the top that Apple have acquired, Yonder do a similar thing. So again, if you're someone who is struggling right now to get a credit card for any reason because of a thin credit report, not necessarily a poor credit report, but a thin one, you don't have much of a history, but you have got a lot of banking data here from the UK to show that you are managing your rent, you're managing all these kind of bits and pieces, and you are kind of a responsible person to lend to, it may be worth having a look at that in more detail. Again, I've only sort of touched the surface when I've looked at it. I've not done a deep dive, but something to consider. 6 months free, 6 months of you spending and repaying the credit card every single month. That could give you a little bit of boost on your credit report. But again, I'll just be careful about that £15 a month if you don't need the extras like the travel insurance. Now, I've got one more deal to tell you about, and I've got some more news we'll follow up with. And this is from Halifax. Their Clarity credit card is currently offering a £20 bonus cashback when you make a transaction as a new card holder in the first 90 days. Now, the Halifax Clarity credit card was the long-standing staple for anyone who wanted to spend on holiday overseas with no fees. They wouldn't charge you anything at all for cash withdrawals or ATM use or for shopping, but there would be interest added to cash withdrawals. Now, I used to have this. I use it all the time, but I've subsequently stopped using it because Chase gives 1% fee-free spending and cash withdrawals. So that's great, 1% cash back. And the Barclaycard Rewards credit card gives you 0.25% cash back. So they're a great partnership, I think, to have for your overseas spending. But this one, £20 for a single purchase, actually isn't too bad at all, because let's assume you're going to use the Chase debit card for most of your spending overseas because you get that 1%. It's the highest rate. It's fee-free. Yes, it's a debit card. But then you do need a credit card for occasional bits and pieces when you're abroad. I've mentioned in my whole video looking at the best ways to spend overseas. This is more like a car hire. A credit card's great for that, or hotel incidentals, or anything where you want to protect that purchase. But let's say you're mainly using Chase. The Barclays card, even though it's earning cash back, which makes, you'd have to spend $8,000 on that card before you get £20 back. That's a lot of money if you're doing most of your spending on Chase. So it might be you go for this Halifax card, you get that 20 quid. And yeah, that's going to get you potentially more money if, again, most of your spending's on Chase. Of course, the benefit of the Barclaycard Rewards card is you can keep spending on that. And even if it takes you 5 years to spend $8,000 on it, ultimately you would be earning more money. But certainly one to have a look at. This is a limited offer, could end at any time. So if you're thinking about it, don't delay. Just remember, with that card, in fact, any of these cards I'm talking about right now, make sure you do an eligibility search before you apply to get your chances of acceptance. Now, this one here, I'll tell you about it. I don't think it's worth it for most of you, but if you have a load of Nectar points sitting around that you don't use and you want to actually have them as Avios points. I'm normally suggesting you do it the other way around. You swap Avios points into Nectar points. But if you want to swap some Nectar points into Avios, and you do that this month, you swap the minimum of 400 Nectar points into 250 Avios. I think that's right. It might be the other way around. Again, I've got all the details on the blog. But you swap that over, and you will get double Nectar points when you shop at Sainsbury's, Argos, and eBay in June. I don't think it's worth it. I think they're better value being kept as Nectar points in the first place. But again, if you're going to do that anyway, it's worth knowing this exists. And a couple of quick things to tell you about now as well. Normally around this time, I would be telling you about the American Express Shop Small promotion in June. By now, we would have heard if it's running and when it's running and what the terms are. So far, nothing at all. Now that could change. They might just be keeping the things really close to their chest, and they'll tell us about it in the next few weeks, and it will still happen. If it does, I'll obviously let you know over on the blog, in my Deals of the Week updates that I do on Instagram, and in the YouTube community here every single Saturday. I'll let you know about it. But at the moment, I don't think it's going to happen. So just a heads up there, if you're waiting for it, looking unlikely. Not guaranteed, but looking unlikely. And the last thing to tell you about is the Consumer Credit Awards. They are back for 2023. And if you vote in them, you entered into a prize draw to win a £1,000 cash prize, which isn't bad at all. Now, these are run by smart money people who I obviously now, you saw my video from a few weeks ago, I'm now part of that organization. This is a great way for you to kind of give your feedback, let people know if there's a lender that you particularly like, you think they deserve recognition and deserve one of those awards. Obviously, hopefully, you'll be in a chance of winning that cash prize as well. It's not just credit cards. It could be car finance. It could be loans. It could be credit reports, anything in that kind of world of credit. So you can go over to the website and vote for that. I'll have a link to that in the notes below, so you can click through if you want to. And of course, what I think you should also do, this is about like celebrating people who you think are good. Don't forget, you can also leave reviews for the ones you don't like. If you think you've been let down, you think the service isn't up to scratch on some providers, you can still do that as your vote if you want to and give a lower rating. Again, you'll still be entered into that draw. The whole point is to share your thoughts, your kind of views on which ones are the good and the bad consumer credit providers in 2023. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these videos right here for more ways to make the most from your credit card.